Okay, thank you. All right, so I think we should start now. Once again, thank you very much and good morning, everyone. And I see everyone is fresh, full of energy, and then want to learn something or we can do some argument, debate. But before doing that, I think let's set our motivation, okay? It's really important to set the proper motivation, what we are doing and why we are doing. And I usually like to visualize the object of refuge and then refuge field. The other word we call is refuge field, and then the Bodhicitta fields. I think it's new for you or not?
Refuge?
Refuge field and then Bodhicitta fields. I think I mentioned earlier a few times refuge field and Bodhicitta fields, meaning, visualize any enlightened being or any teacher. Okay, let's say that. Any teachers or being that you use them as your role model and you won't really follow their footstep. Okay. So any being that you regard them as your mentor or your guidance or your elders or someone, you know, your meaning not really just this small close you. Little bit bigger, look at like a little wider perspective, okay? And someone who really benefit living beings. It could be human being, animal, earth, anywhere. And many people have different teachers, of course, right? So we just respect all of them. Why not? There are really authentic teachers who have given this instruction or teaching that really clearly give the instruction how to live our life fully, meaning more meaningful, really live with a purpose. So it could be coming from different tradition, different religious tradition, or maybe just in secular way, right? So for me, yes, definitely His Holiness the Dalai Lama and then Buddha Shakyamuni, and for all of you for sure, I think, why not? There's nothing wrong to Buddha Shakyamuni and His Holiness the Dalai Lama use as your role model. And then you could have more. That you could have many, many, like a role model in your life. So because of that, I'm saying that, visualize refuge field. You go for refuge them, meaning you are seeking their guidance and their help and their wisdom and compassion. And just mentally invite them in front of you, okay? You just try to think that I'm pretty sure everybody have seen His Holiness picture, His Holiness the Dalai Lama picture, or maybe some you have, seen him in person. So visualize His Holiness in front of you with a very beautiful smile, glowing, loving, and caring, and looking up on us like the parent taking care of their only child, or the mothers or the father. Okay, just try to think, bring in your mind as clear as possible, but just naturally, no forcing. Okay. And then when you say Bodhicitta field, we are actually learning or studying about the psychology, Buddhist psychology, which has a really, really rich tradition from like 2,500 years before and still very much living tradition. And we are learning that not only just for one single person, benefit. And our motivation to learn this to benefit many, many, many beings. So for that, this is how you lead to visualize the bodhicitta feeling, meaning just think that all living beings surrounded you, meaning just imagine that your parents, friends, families, and then, all beings When you say all beings, meaning human, animals, and all beings who have consciousness, who can feel pleasure and pain, and who are actually seeking or searching happiness, and then try to minimize or end suffering. I'm sorry. Okay, now we have visualized the refuge field and then the bodhicitta fields. And okay, while you're doing the refuge, check with your scanning your body as well. Just sit properly, and it's very, very relaxed and natural in a manner. And if there's any pain or any discomfort with your feet or leg or the hips or the ribs or the shoulder and spine, just make sure that your body posture is very, very relaxed and natural manner. You feel really comfortable. Because the mind and body is always together. I think one of the verse mentioned that, the mind and body is always together, meaning wherever the body goes, the mind goes, like the shadow of your body, right? Now we will do, oops, we'll do 5 minutes, like a single pointed meditation, focused on one particular object. And usually we use the object of our own breath, but whichever work for you is okay. You could focus the object of your focus. You could have your teacher or the person who you use as your role model, or Buddha statue or image, or His Holiness the Dalai Lama's image or statue or image. That's also possible, but most of the time it's good to use our own breath. But sometimes, meaning just try to think very careful, focus on the object, which intending object, as much as possible, to think that very clearly and with stable. And if you use like a Buddha statue or like a Buddha image, if the image is big, I think the mind just scatter, mind wander occur. If it is too small, it's quite difficult to focus, I think. Most of the very good teacher or the practitioner, usually they suggest the image, this thumb side of the image, thumb side. Okay, just let's try. Let's try. Here we have Buddha. You can look how the Buddhas look like, and think that he's full of compassion and wisdom and caring and loving. It's this image. It's just a reminder of him. Okay, but you could imagine he is in front of you in person, and how his face look like, the hand and everything. And this is quite big. I think its thumb size is good because he can focus the mind more, like channelize the mind better. I think if you have like smaller, I'm not sure, but usually suggested smaller image is good. Okay, let's do 5 minutes of meditation on focus on the Buddha's image. Let's try with Buddha's image. Okay. Okay, are you ready? Make sure that your body posture is in correct or the right position. Okay, let's start. Thank you. Maybe take a few seconds. You can stretch. If anybody want to have water or anything, you can go and get. Okay, all okay, all good. Okay, Susan, good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to be here.
How are you? Good?
Good. Yeah, had a busy
Uh,
summer. It's nice to be
uh,
back.
okay, thank you. All right, so are you ready? Ready to go? Okay, we'll wait for Connell. I think Connell is getting tea or water. That's good. Mhm. So you got this copy? I mean the PDF? I think we share on
No.
the website, the Force of Wisdom website, where you have the link, and I'm using it's that it's the Buddhist psychology part from the Nalanda.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. You got it.
I'll look,
Thank you.
I'll look for it.
Okay, so you can download from the website. Okay, it's the PDF. It's good to have the text with you. So if you want to order the hard copy, you can try. It's always good to have a hard copy where you can write notes with your pen or pencil. But as you have the how to pronounce your name, Ilis. I'm sorry, Ilis, like this. This. Everybody's using these days. There are people who are sort of making too much copy. Is sometime is I don't know, they're questioning. We don't want to waste too much paper. I don't know, whatever. Unless when you could use the laptop or iPad, and if it's work, it's okay, why not? But I personally feel like hard copy is good. I feel like more kind of touching with your physical thing, and where you could have the pencil, and it's just depend on the individual which one is more comfortable. It's all the options should be available. Why not, right? Really stick with just one. So the PDF is also work for sure. Everybody's digitizing all this teaching, and why not? You make it very available, especially when you're traveling, right? So you can't really carry all this volume with you. The airline won't let you in too, though you have to pay so much extra money. So if you have like the whole teaching of the Buddhas and the commentary, all are available online these days. The Kangyur and Tengyur. Have you heard that? The Kangyur and Tengyur. It's in Tibetan word. It's known as Kangyur and Tengyur. Kangyur meaning the Buddha's own word. Teachings 84,000. It's called 84,000 Buddhist teachings, something like that. But what does it mean? It's different topics on. There are teaching that Buddha have given in different times and different location with the beings needs. 84,000 which have different kind of content, and these are all translated into Tibetan language, Chinese language, and I think Japanese, I think, and maybe Vietnamese, and from like Sanskrit to these different languages. Nowadays there are this one which is named Zongsa Khyentse Rinpoche. Have you heard? Mhm. Have you heard? Okay. He is a very, very modern teacher, I think. He's a really, really important teacher. And he have a project called 84,000 Translation Program Project. And he's asking scholar, people who have knowledge on Buddhism, and translate these sutras into English language. And it's all upload onto their website and make available PDF. Anybody can download for free and read. If you Google 84,000 translation, and his monastery is based in India, in Dharamsala. but he traveled around the world and give teaching. He's very good in English. He's a Tibetan Lama, but this reincarnation, I think he was born in Bhutan. And Bhutan, do you know Bhutan? A small kind of country in the Himalaya. And but he educated in very close to the Dalai Lama residence. It's about 2.5 hours from where I live in Dharamsala. It's a beautiful monastery there, and he's giving education, modern education, and like like philosophy and everything. So 84,000 translation program. If you want to Google, if you have like spare time, you can Google and you find this translation available in English. Okay.
It's also a phone app.
What was that?
It's a phone app
I
too.
think so.
Like
I
on
think so.
apps.
I think so. I think so. Yeah. Check with that. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so why it came to that? It's PDF or the hard copy. It's just both options should be available. Why not? Right? So now what we are doing here is thank you, Hansla, coming back. Hansla, you are much senior than me, so you should just teach me. Okay, the Buddhist psychology. What comes in your mind when you say psychology or Buddhist psychology? I think we need to think about this. Internalize when you say Buddhist psychology or psychology, because you have different fields out there, right? And different way to learn out there. Western psychology, psychiatrists, and then in the Buddhist tradition or the Buddhist teaching, it said each one of us could become therapy for for ourselves. Be your own masters, meaning if you are able to learn how our mind work, how our mind, function, and then we ourselves can become the good friend of ourselves, meaning we don't have to look somewhere else, psychiatrists, to get some kind of therapy. Yes, of course, people need that therapy, help when they are mentally a little bit distracted, or maybe some, what do you call it, having some trouble with your mind. No, nothing is wrong. Of course, you have to deal with the reality. And then Buddhist teaching, where
Westerns call it mental health.
mental health, well-being, yes, mental health. That's true, really good. Many people, they say mental health, it's very important, right? So that's really good to, like term we use instead of using Buddhists or Hindus or Christian or like any other religion. Maybe just say mental health. We're learning how to take care of our mental health. So when you say mental health, then what are the illness of your mind or mental? And then how can you really improve your mental health, right? Does this question come to your mind or not? Are we able to recognize the illness of our mind? What do you think?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
A lot of times, no.
That's really true. It's not easy
Yeah.
for sure. Most of the time, it's really difficult to identify what are the mental illnesses, right? Instead of thinking that this is the illness of my mind, instead we think that this helped me. It's my survival. That I think some people said, like anger, toughness, and aggression. We need it. And for what? For our survival. Have you heard that? Evolutionary teach that. You have to be aggressive. Why? If predator come, you have to fight back. With anger or aggression, you can fight back. Otherwise, no. If you are so soft, if you are so gentle, maybe you're not. You need to fight. So, for our survival. What do you think? Do we have to fight for our survival?
Fight or run.
Flight or fight?
Fight, flight.
Flight or
freeze.
what was that?
Fight, flight, or freeze.
Fight, flight, and freeze.
But I think that it's not necessarily like always the case these days, maybe like a little bit more so when,
Uh-huh.
we had saber-toothed tigers running after us and stuff. To actually like really immediately have that response.
Right,
But
right.
you
Okay,
have to work through that kind of
that's right. Anyway, so good. We are all good. We have to be just feel fortunate that we are all good. You don't have to think. Of course, you say it's very difficult, right? About identify the in the illness of mind. That's really true. It's very difficult for me. I mean, I've been learning this Buddhist teaching for like nearly now what, from 6 7 years age. So now it's 40 49. So I mean nearly 40 years. And it's really difficult to identify what are the illness of mind. More or less, I'm a happy person generally, but but there's so much you need to work. We need to work out with. I need to work out with it. I'm a very lazy person. Okay, so I know you have to just be honest yourself. Lazy meaning what do you call? Anyway, so we don't want to go anywhere else now. Like it's very important to identify the mental illness and then how to treat the mental illness. To get the treatment for the mental illness, of course, there are so many different kind of treatments available, but out of which I think the mental illness should be treated by improving the positive part of the mind itself. We don't have to look kind of medicine, external medicine. The medicine exists within ourselves, and how can you really make the medicine or the remedy stronger than the illness? Right? Does it make sense? The remedy should make stronger so that can overcome the illnesses. The illnesses identify many texts, not only particularly Buddhist teaching, anger, hatred, attachment. These are illness of our mind. And how can you really overcome that? Overcome anger with practice patience, cruelty or hurting others or hating others, could overcome with love and compassion. And then ignorance, not knowing, could be overcome with sharpening your wisdom, educating yourself, expanding your knowledge, checking with very broader view. The way the our view should be like more kind of open. Just keep it open for in all 10 directions. And yeah, there are so many things out there. So now here, I think we read the first 4 verses where the overall kind of explanation about what does it mean, why we study mind, right? The question came, they said the question was why we study mind, right? And then the answer, Kanal, are you okay? Good. Okay, okay, okay. Take your time, no worry. And why study mind? And then the question start was steady mind, and then there are a few verses like source. This is the traditional way we learn, what the Buddha said about steady mind, and then what the other later masters, later teachers said about the mind, and from what Dhammapada, and then Abhidharma Kosh, Acharya Vasubandhu. And then now we check with the next, we more or less read the first 4 verses. And if you want to elaborate, you can go like more than a year to study just out of these 4 verses. But we are not going to do that detailed right now because the whole set of, like a curriculum is available for to study this, meaning of these 4 verses. Now we check with the 5th verse. Acharya Chandrakirti said in Madhaymavatara. Do you have that? Okay, Acharya Chandrakirti. I think good to know who is Acharya Chandrakirti. Maybe just brief. Okay, Acharya Chandrakirti is out of the 17 Nalanda masters, where we have the picture over here. You know, this smaller one, and there's a bigger one over there. And there's a Buddha in the middle, and then all the 17 Nalanda masters surrounded with them. So Acharya Chandrakirti is a student of Arya Nagarjuna. Acharya Chandrakirti is a 6th century teacher, 6th century Nalanda masters, who was a main commentator to write commentary on the Madhaymavatara, the middle way. Have you heard? Middle way, meaning the middle, the Buddhist view, the highest view, which is called the middle way. Okay, he wrote the commentary on the Arya Nagarjuna's text, which is another text called Wisdom, the Fundamental Wisdom of Middle Way. And he's the main person who wrote it, in which he was from, I think he's from South India. He was born in South India. And when you say South India, whether the present South India or maybe like more than 1,000 years before India, more than 1,000 years before India is slightly different than the modern India. Because of that, there's a term called India, is maybe in English word, I'm not sure. Actually, the original word, the name of India is in Hindi is Bharat. Have you heard that? Bharat. Bharat. It's very important, actually. It's quite important. It's not really because of I'm promoting about India, because all these teachings came from this source, is rooted from India. Okay, so because of that, it's quite important to know, what stand India, because the many of this education, the object of knowledge or the wisdom that came to the other part of Asia came from India. Really true. So because of that, His Holiness the Dalai Lama's the fourth commitment is a reviving ancient Indian wisdom. Wisdom here, we study, psychology. So this is very important. Reviving ancient Indian wisdom. And then out of many, kind of ancient traditions available, but out of this Buddhist teaching is a Buddhist, teaching which is compatible with the modern science. It's not really just, someone says it's many scholars, many, great thinker, they're acknowledging this is very true. And you can adapt, like Judeo-Christian tradition country like America or Europe. There are many scholars, practitioners who are really attracted to this teaching. It's not really, nobody is pushing you to study, but there are voluntarily learning, right? So it helps for your mind. It helps you to how to maintain your, mental health balance, right? How do how do you learn how to smile genuinely? I'm really serious. So because of that, the term Bharat, which cover, I think I mentioned one time earlier, there's one documentary made by BBC, and it was released in 2008. It's called The Story of India. The Story of India. It has, I think, 6 episodes and 40 to 45 minutes. It's quite worth to watch. And he was telling all this ancient tradition, the valuable of knowledge on India, and like cosmology, metaphysics, mental health, and then medicine, astrology, all this different, knowledge that exposed from India to other part of the world. And then he was really good, actually. Some BBC, very wonderful, very BBC, senior reporter. He traveled everywhere, and he was saying, okay, to tell the story of India, I cannot find the complete story from the modern India. Oh, I thought, what are you talking? And then he was going to tell the story with certain time from first centuries, third century, sixth century, whatever, and telling the old story about India. It touches with the Buddha, and then it covers so many rich tradition of the ancient India rather than modern India. And he traveled to like Afghanistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Burma, Sri Lanka, and even Tibet. And then he actually went to Dharamsala in India. In Dharamsala, the Dalai Lama's resident, and went to the astrology, the Tibetan medicine and astrology center, and to do the, read his own astrology reading. It's really interesting one. And then the next day, he went to see His Holiness the Dalai Lama in his residence. And he was sharing what the astrology told him. It was so funny. And His Holiness, he was saying, yesterday I went to the Tibetan Medical on astrology, this Tibetan, I think, what was that? Tibetan Medicine and Astrology Center, and asked to do my, astrology reading. And then he said, and the astrologist said, my previous life of elephant. And then the future was something else. It was so funny. They were having really good conversation with His Holiness. And His Holiness was kind of puzzled. What is that? But of course, this astrology say this kind of thing. So he traveled many, many different parts of the world, and then he went to Tibet, but I think he didn't get full permission to travel in Tibet, because he said it's Tibet. I think the last episode, he said Tibet, but it just shows some part of Nepal and a few Pref Lake and the mountain, and not much about Tibet. I don't know. Maybe he didn't have full access or what. I'm not sure. Anyway, these are why we're talking about that. It's very important to just aware, just aware about this knowledge, right? Okay, now Acharya Chandrakirti, who was 6th century, like a scholars, practitioner, and the main commentator of the Pasangika Madhyamika philosophy. Pasangika Madhyamika philosophy, meaning it's called the highest, tenet system in Buddhist tenet system. We have 4 Buddhist tenet system, okay? Vaibhashika, Swatantika, and then Chittamatra, and then Madhyamika. So he was the main commentator of the Pasangika view, okay? And I think maybe we don't need to know too much about him. He was a 6th century, and he was born in Nalanda. He's born in 6th century in South India and died at, he lived like 70s. Yeah. And his teaching, of course, in India is really widely, like influence. And then it during 7th, 8th century, it doesn't, in the history, it doesn't show much about his teaching become kind of influential. But then later, like in 9th, 8th century, 11th century, it's become really, really influential in Tibet. And even it doesn't seem there's too much, lot of kind of translation of his work in Chinese language, because Buddhism, I think, it's good to touch there. Buddhist teaching translated, went to China much, much, much earlier than Tibet. I think around 3rd century. To Tibet, late 7th and early 7th century, early 8th centuries. This is this big kind of a historical background. But his teaching has become really, really kind of core for the Tibetan Buddhism. Okay, very, very important. And what else he Yeah, it says, okay, what does it mean by Chandrakirti? Chandrakirti. Chandra is actually a Sanskrit word. Have you heard that? Chandra meaning, it's very beautiful. Chandra mean, Chandra means the moon. Chandrakirti, moon. In Tibetan, it's called Dawa Thakpa. Dawa means moon. Thakpa is glory, the glory of the moon, the meaning of his name. It's the glory of the moon. Meaning, you know, it's, you could use this as a metaphor. When you feel so hot, you know, then from this, you know, moon, we get some coolness, right? So you could think like we are suffering with, we are actually burning with our mental illness. True. It's in many of the classical texts, which they use it like a, you know, the mental illness, the afflictions as a kind of fire, which burn your the good quality of your mind. And then what is the remedy to restore it? It's the wisdom. So the glory of the wisdom, glory of the wisdom could be like a Chandrakirti is the glory of the wisdom, or the glory of the moon. This is what he says, you know, okay? It's quite, you know, the name itself is very important, actually. Sad. Mm, 1 minute. Chandra. Okay. So his work and his teachings, which, you know, rooted from in ancient India, and he was actually 6th century, you know, permanent teacher, but his teachers are Nagarjuna of the 2nd century. And then his teaching actually, you know, started translated into Tibetan language. Is called Junulote. I think it's 11th century's teachers. And then until Lama Tsongkhapa, we have Lama Tsongkhapa. This is the image of Lama Tsongkhapa. Is a 14th century teacher, so who is very, very much fond of the Madhyamika, the Pasangika Madhyamika teachers, the teachings. Okay, so now what he said here about why we study like in the mind, why we study mind. Acharya Chandrakirti, what he says. Okay, let's check on the book. It is the mind itself that constructs the sentient world, as well as the utterly diverse container world. So the Buddha taught that all beings are produced from karma. Without mind, there can be no karma. You all have that verse? The same, right? Okay, so it's heavy word. It is the mind itself that constructs the sentient world. Sentient, we talk about what is sentient, what is not sentient, don't worry. And I think, you know, very, very, very loose kind of definition. What is sentient, what is not sentient? Sentient means someone who have consciousness or mind, and who can feel pain and pleasure, and who can think, plan, and, you know, who can drive you where you want to go. The main driver, let's say the pilot. If you want to, you know, like go, if you want to fly from here to another part of the world, you need pilot, right? The airplane to, in order to be able to get the plane to one place to the next, we need a pilot. Same thing, if you want to travel by train from one place to the another, you need a pilot. You know, so the mind is meant, kind of mind, or the consciousness is like the pilot. Like the pilot, not the pilot, like the pilot, and then everything else, it flow. You know, and here it is, you know, it is the mind itself construct the sentient world, and then the container, where you say, as well as the utterly diverse container, and diverse container. So you need to focus on the keywords here, and diverse container, and then constructed the sentient world. In Tibetan, very beautiful word. Neki jikten semjen. Mean container, and then the thing that it contains in it. Are you getting it? The container in the outer world, the external world, the container. And what it contains, Jugi meaning contain the sentience. Sentient beings. Sentient beings are the things that contain into the outer world. Is getting it? It's interesting, no? Very interesting. It's a very profound sort of thing. And as well as utterly diverse container world. So the Buddha taught, yes.
Understand container world that well, so I'm just wondering, does it mean like all different aspects of the world, including samsara and enlightenment and everything? I mean, what's it talking about exactly? That's contained.
But contain and container, external world is the container. The external world.
So the external world outside of the mind?
Outside of the mind. Well, no. No, it's not created by my mind. It's created by karma. It's like action. It's created by the karma. The sentient being meaning, okay, sentient being meaning someone who have feeling pleasure, pain, who can think, who can plan, sort of thing. Let's keep that. But if you want to do very precisely, you can debate a lot, okay? Debate means you can do a lot of discussion. You can debate a lot. So we can have each individual our own kind of world, and then you have like a bigger world. Individual, the container, and as well as the content, and then the family, and then maybe the what is it called, the zoning thing, the town, and then the state, and then you can go to the country, and then you can expand to the world like that. Okay, so you can really, there's so much that you could discover. And the Buddha taught that all beings are produced from karma. Now here, karma, karma meaning simply mean action, but the main karma is intention.
It's 11 hours.
Back to her question, I still know the container world.
Container world and the
But the universe, or are you talking about like the experiential outside of us?
the object of experience. It could be anything. The universe, your own body, your own aggregate, your house, and other things.
So the mind created the universe.
Whether the mind create the universe, okay, let's say the mind create the universe. Yes, the mind or the action, the karma create the universe.
So the origins of the universe from
Origin of the universe.
9 billion years ago. And
Are you talking the Big Bang?
Yes.
I'm having trouble with that. I'm really having trouble with that. When the Big Bang happened, who created Big Bang? Come on.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So you're saying, he's saying mind.
Mind, yes.
How is that?
The mind.
It's a scientific concept that's been studied, but it's conceptual in our minds, and it's part of our education.
Mhm.
So it's not necessarily pure mind. It's not pure awareness. Or it's not clear.
Big Bang is some kind of explosion happened.
So
Big Bang is some kind of external world explosion happened. This is what I learned. Big Bang. Big Bang, yes, the Big Bang theory is there. 13.7 billion, right? 8.7, yeah. Go. And then we're asking, how do you know that Big Bang is the origin of the world? I mean, this universe, or what? And it's some kind of explosion happened, right? Some kind of explosion happened. It's a physical world. And then does this have any kind of connection with the karma and the sentient being action or not? I will say yes. Are you getting it or not?
Yes, so you're saying yes. So that
Yes.
implying,
Yes.
to be clear that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what?
Container, something to put things into.
Yes. These are metaphors.
It's a metaphor, but are you supposed to be, is like karma puts things into this container?
Karma.
That is the world that exists? Is that what the container is? the container, does everybody else understand?
Does it,
Yeah.
so if I say all
Mhm.
sentient beings in this diverse container world, is there anything which is not included in that?
Contain and the container role is if there anything that not included it. In liberation and enlightenment, I don't think it's included in here.
They're not included.
Is mind included in the container world?
Mind, it depends. Sentient being mind included, yes. But enlightened mind, Buddha's mind, I don't think it's included. It's talk about the world. It's the world, I guess here is referred to the mundane world rather than, like super mundane. Have you heard that? Super mundane world and then there's mundane world. Here it means the mundane world is referring to the mundane world. Mundane world.
Would you say, is the contained world all conditioned phenomena?
Yes.
And outside of non-contained
Non.
world is unconditioned
Sorry, what was that? Non.
things that are not in the contained world, unconditioned phenomena?
Unconditional phenomena. Unconditional phenomena. Like what?
Like space,
Like
right? Would be an
space, but depend also which space. Uncomposite space. Uncomposite space is also it's included into the world, but it's when you say world, it doesn't mean like a composite, all composite thing. Of course, yes, all composite things are included in. But when you say the universe, the all phenomena included into it. And then whether it's the enlightened mind and the enlightened world are included in here or not, I don't think so. I don't think it's included. It's something beyond with our conception. It's something beyond us, because we are a sentient being, meaning we are afflicted with our mind and our, body, and everything is more kind of contaminated. Let's say that. Contaminated. Have you heard that? Contaminated. So we are more like a kind of contaminated rather than, like a free of contamination. So then there's a way that you could free from the contamination. And then contamination could be affliction and the contaminated karma. What is
the container world is basically samsara or conditions?
Let's keep now as a samsara and nirvana. Samsara and nirvana, but samsara, let's say samsara. But this is kind of, like a, contextual sort of word. Okay, a minute. It is the mind itself that constructs the sentient world. Don't worry. As well as the utterly diverse container world. So the Buddha taught that all beings are produced from karma. Yes, I think it's a samsaric being. Just in this context, just a samsaric being. Samsaric beings are contained into the world. But then you could, the diverse, when you say diverse things, so what are there? We have so many diversities are there, right? Okay, let's forget about the plants for the time being. You can debate, but forget about the plant for the time being. And just think about ourselves. And maybe even forget the animals, or maybe hunger ghosts or hell, or there are 6 different types of sentient beings in the samsara. Okay, 3 higher beings, 3 lower beings. Have you heard that? Right? Goddesses, and demigod are supposed to be higher being, and then animals, hunger ghosts, and hell beings are supposed to be lower being, meaning why we call them a lower and why we call them higher. With a virtuous karma, contaminated virtuous karma here, contaminated virtuous karma. If we create contaminated virtuous karma, we will be reborn into higher 3 realms. If you create contaminated non-virtuous karma, then we will reborn into hell realms, animal realms, and then hunger ghost realms. This is what it's explained. Are you getting it? Are you happy? Scott? Okay, we want to get some idea from the online. Okay, anybody have any trouble with the container world and then the content world? Anybody have any kind of what do you say? What include in the content world and the container? What is the container and what is contain? What things in contain? Anybody have any idea? Just share your own thought. It doesn't mean someone is right or someone is wrong. It's just a learning process. We have to just find our own understanding, and then the more you go in deeper, the more we get understanding. And stick with the karma, that where you say it is the mind that itself that construct the sentient world, as well as the utterly diverse container world. So the Buddha taught that all beings are produced from karma. Without mind, there can be no karma. Without mind, there can be no karma. It's a really key word. Without mind, there will be no karma, which clearly indicating without mind, nothing can be done. Nothing exists. But how is that possible? Then you can ask, how is that possible, right? Anything? Maybe Daniel, Hans, and Brian, and Susan.
Hi, Gishima.
Yes, please share your thought on this verse.
Well, I was thinking we're contained within the container in a sense.
Uh-huh.
And it's the link to the mind is that I think for me in a sense the mind acts a little bit as a container as well, because it contains it contains our continuum, our karma, our afflictions. So there's a sort of, I don't know how to construct it really in a good phrase, but that's the sort of idea I have in mind.
Okay, thank you, Daniela. Anyone else have anything? Angelo, Hans?
Well, this is Brian. I just think that, I mean, the most important are the last two lines, I think. I think that's pretty definitive. That we're produced by karma, and without mind, there can be no karma. So I think that's the jewel that I want to hang on to. The sentient world, container world, I think as sentient beings, we hold on to our false sense of a individual self, and that is produced by our karma. And as a result of that, we see the world as diversity, the container world as diversity, because we see ourselves as separate, independent selves.
Okay, you remind me of something very important verse from Arya Nagarjuna, but I think I'll get a little later of that. Oh, thank you, Brila. There's one verse from Arya Nagarjuna, how this, come to being. I'm not going to go today because it's explained how, the ignorant originate the affliction, attachment, and aversion, and then how these two, create karma, that contaminated karma, and then how the sentient being suffer into the samsaric being. This, this kind of sequence, like 5 different points are there, and how we really did it. Because of me and mind, the clinging so strongly, not knowingly, with the, the affliction, ignorance mean it's like ignorance. There are 2 types. There are many ignorance. 4 main different types of ignorance are there, and there are 2 other 2 types of ignorance are there. The one that's ignorance, meaning it's like you're not really knowing the reality as it is. Because of that, you're just kind of dreaming. We're just believing that nothing, something that not exists, but you're really clinging. This is real. We think like Acharya Chandrakirti, they have like 2 to 3 verses that like first you cling that self, me is the most important. I am the universe, the very center of the universe. This kind of feeling, this kind of notion of the mind that clings so tightly, and then I am the most important person. This ignorance say that, and then because this strong kind of ignorance, this exists in your mind stream, and then if something happened to me, that's something that relate to me, if someone praise you or someone help you, you attach that person or that action. If someone more kind of not really agreeing what you believe in it, and we are creating more kind of aversion toward that object or that person. And then because of that, when you have this aversion and the what was that attachment, which is also there's another one thing called inappropriate attention. Have you heard that? Because when you say ignorance, not knowing things, not really knowing the reality, how it is, and then you believe that something is really, really, precious, something is very important for you, and in reality, it's not true. In reality, it's not really true, but then we believe like, person or things, something is very good, and the inappropriate attention actually meaning like you are exaggerating the quality of the object. Exaggerating meaning, because of the biased mind, because of the biased kind of mental attitude, you are really exaggerating he or she or that house or that things. It without which I won't be able to exist or I won't be survive. And that's checking so many kind of exaggerating of the quality of the object. And because of that, so strong attach. And then on the other hand, that there are objects that you really dislike it or something like that. And you feel like aversion or aversion occur when you say, let's say, this is a good object that help you help us. This is a good object, just kind of a metaphor. Okay, this is a good object that really help you, but the very narrow mind, like the ignorant mind, this is good and this is bad. Okay, yes, good and bad as exists in reality, but it's not really exists from the object side. It's but imputed by our mind. It just created our mind creation. And this is bad because what? It's bad. It's acting bad to me. Me is the first because it doesn't serve what I want. And then you're putting too much, you're taking so many kind of like negative qualities of that object, exaggerating too much. And then if someone come and hurt for the bad object to you, and you're really happy, you feel really happy because it doesn't have to do anything with me, so it's like kind of hurting me. Okay, I appreciate that someone is kind of hurting that because this doesn't serve what I want. This has really happened to us, and this is something good thing that it serves what I want, what I need. So now if someone come and start to like hurting this object, you will feel so angry with that because this serve what I need and my wish. Me is when you have this kind of mental attitude that me is the center of the universe, and then we create mine and there. But in reality, all of us are us rather than you and me. This is how our mind really create this mess, the contaminated karmas. In inappropriate attention, which exaggerating the quality of the good or the bad, and the neutral. There are 3 of them. The neutral, something, there are certain things that doesn't seem connected with you or with me, and then you just ignore that, not really reacting as with kind of dear or near or maybe distant, and just live as kind of not really doing anything. This is how the ignorance actually becomes stronger. And then when you have this object that something really attractive or something that really serve what you need, and if then anything happened to that, you get aversion to that person. And then, something attractive, you're attached so much. The attachment and aversion, when it's blinding us. Blinding, we got that? Because instead of having, first place we have the ignorance, and then again the attachment and aversion, it's help you to make stronger that. This is how we create this our world like a misery. Nothing is kind of, seemingly we say pleasant, pleasure, nice, but in reality we are creating it. So thank you, Brian. Like, you brought really beautiful things that I couldn't really when I recited the whole verses of the Arya Nagarjuna, where he really explained very, very precisely about how we really create the karma, so the actions, and how we really create our own world, good, bad, ignore sort of things. So this is how the samsara originated. Each individual, I was actually telling that each individual have your own container world, and then the content world, and then you have the collective content and container world, and then you can so many others. But others, not really much, of course it's related, everything is content, interconnected it, but we are responsible for our own action. Are you getting that? So karma means action, and then the main karma is intention, the intention that you have. If the intention is like a blinded, very kind of biased way, and the result will be not that good. Maybe temporarily sort of helpful, but long run doesn't help. And if the intention is something that really long vision, far vision, motivated with a, artistic mind, and then the result will be, something that lasts long and something that benefit for oneself and others in long run, as well as for the, temporary. Most of the time, if there's a more benefit for the long run, we have to struggle or challenge a little bit temporarily. Do you agree with that? I agree with that. I feel like that's really true, because I think I'd share with some story of like a past master, Acharya Dignaka, one of the logician of the Nalanda masters, who wrote the, Parmana Samujaya text, which is, it's actually a proof how our mind work, how the, rebirth, past, present, and future, kind of life existence. He came with like very, very, very authentic reason and logic based on the Buddha's teaching. And he wrote like one verses about that. And then there was one kind of another philosopher who disagreed with that, what he is writing. And he was making fun of him. Remember that? I think some of you were there, and some are not. He wrote a verses called, let me see. Transform into reliable guide, motivated autism, the Sugata, the teacher, and what was that? The teacher and Sugata, to you I make prostration. It's actually the salutation of the verses. The salutation of the Pramana Samujaya text. Transform in reliable guide. Transform. When you the word transform, we can transform our mind and our attitude. Okay. Yes, we can do some sort of transformation of the external thing, but whether this term used for transforming external thing or not, kind of not really necessary or not required. Transform in reliable guide, meaning if you practice compassion and loving, caring, like on a regular basis, and then there is a point that you see everything is your friends and family. There's no you and me or this kind of group. If we have creating some kind of group, my group, their group, and then someone that really nothing to do with us, and that's how our attachment, aversion, and then ignorance really makes stronger. We already have them, but we are putting, there's another kind of saying in Tibetan, say, what happens if there's fire going on? If you put kerosene on it, throwing kerosene on the fire when the house is caught fire. The fire house is already caught a fire, and instead of calling the fire, like a department to get like water to finish the fire, but if you throw kerosene, what will happen? It's become bigger, right? For sure. Same thing what we are doing. So it's true. It's really difficult to identify how to really work with that. It's really difficult, but difficult doesn't mean it's not possible. It's really possible. If you really realize, okay, the mental illnesses, attachment, aversion, and ignorance, it's really true. We have to be really honest ourselves, accept our own limitation, and then try to work. How can you really improve? Okay, wow. I'm sorry. I thought I'm going to finish these two verses and then start the main thing, the definition of the mind. But I don't know this how it happened. It's okay. It's okay, right? Yes.
I think the person who was online who was talking about the mind container. I mean that rang true with me
Okay.
in a way that was very helpful to me to understand what was meant by container. I can see the mind in a way as the ultimate.
The mind contains everything.
It's the ultimate container in terms of whatever it perceives and takes in. That's the diversity. To me, anyway. I mean, I can't see that green pillow as a container.
Right.
What's curious to me is that when we all look at that green pillow, I think we do all see a green pillow and not what we want to see.
Yeah. Okay, good.
So
thank you, Brian La.
Simply trouble with a container outside the mind. That's what I'm
outside the mind. It's a namesake container. Mind is the container. Outside mind is the namesake container. Maybe the pot, the house, the planet is like a namesake container instead of container itself.
So one container inside another, inside another.
Yeah, of course. But anyway, 1 minute. It is the mind itself that constructs the sentient being, as well as the utterly diverse container world. So the Buddha taught that all beings are produced from karma. Without mind, there can be no karma. Okay, don't worry about too much about what is container, what is the contain. Yes, mind is the container, and then everything else is like the things that contain in it. Just leave it there, keep it that. Doesn't mean that it's something is right. You can change it. It change meaning the more you understand a little bit deeper, and then you could, your view can change. So nothing is fixed there. And I want to just check a little bit with the beings. Beings, B-I-N-G-S, beings. Okay, there are, these people who are like really, really, like a world-renowned, philosopher and scientist. Have you watched the Mind and Life conversation in Dharamsala? They were really struggling. I don't know, not struggling, I'm sorry, not struggling, but I think they were discussing about this one, beings. Beings, what is beings? We were talking about sentient, what is sentient, what is not sentient. Here, what is being is what is not being. And what is being and what is not being. There are many different kind of, there are, maybe it's with the context. There are either the beings in Tibetan, you can find like few different meaning. One is actually is the possible, being impossible. Another one is something that, like abide. And then another one is something that having, or another thing, another one is something that it is. But the real thing is sentient beings, someone who have mind. sentient, sokchak, being meaning, sentient being meaning someone who alive, someone live. Can you see that? Someone live. This is not live, right? I'm live. I'm not dead yet. But even I'm dead, I will have the future life. I don't, yes or no? Why not?
What's the word?
Not see. Yes. You said. I'm sorry. This is yeah. What would you say?
The word beings in Tibetan, is it the same?
No, in
No.
Tibetan it has many different meanings. Are there? There are 6, 7 different meanings. Okay, 1 minute. In Tibetan, I just checked on the dictionary beings in Tibetan, and I found 6, 7 different meaning of that.
How do you say the word in Tibetan?
Yeah. What was that? What did you
How do
say?
you say the word?
Can I say in Tibetan? Do you want me to say in Tibetan?
Yeah, share with us.
But do you speak Tibetan?
No.
You need to learn Tibetan then. It's a good. No. I can say in Tibetan, yes. Do you want to hear? You want to hear? Sorry, we are having little interesting class today. It's okay, why not, right? Okay, the Tibetan.
Why is it funny?
No, you say you want to hear in Tibetan. So that make me happy.
A few examples of what it.
Okay, sure. That's good.
So both.
Okay, right. You know, the Tibetan word beings, one is possible. In Tibetan, it's a sipa.
Thank you.
Sipa means sarda sakya sita sit. Anybody speak Tibetan here? Anybody know Tibetan? No, you don't know. You don't know.
I'm learning at very beginner level.
Daniel, you know, right?
I'm learning. I've done the beginner level with Tibet House.
Oh, good.
I'm really on a low level still.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm saying in Tibetan, beings.
Mhm.
In Tibetan, sipa, sarda sakya sita sit, sipa.
Mhm.
That's one meaning. Another one is neba, kaonasane. It's Tibetan language, I'm sorry. But neba, sipa means possible. Neba means, like a neba means abide,
Right, yeah.
abide, I think.
Yeah.
Word.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, and then yepa. Yepa means having. Yepa.
Yeah.
That's the number 3. This is 3 things. Okay, now you need an example, right?
Please.
Yes, of course, I'll give you an example. Possible beings, possible. This is possible pencil, right?
Right.
So in this case, it doesn't mean, like a being doesn't mean like a sentient being. This is possible. It's possible or not possible? It's a possible. But if you want to study the dialectic, like a philosophy dialectic thing, possible and not possible, we have 2, like another topics. What is possible and what is not possible? Sipa, misipa. In Tibetan, imba sipa shecha, imba misipa shecha. This is possible, meaning it has its own entity. Are you getting it?
Yes.
This has its own entity, it's possible.
Mm.
And if you want to say pot and pillar or pencil and pen, pencil and pen, is there any kind of phenomena that's possible?
Yes.
How?
I don't know.
These two, take these two different phenomena. Take 2 different phenomena, 2 different, 2 different objects. Pick up 2 different objects. It is possible or not possible?
It's possible.
Why? How?
Both of them.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Set of them mean what? It's not possible. Okay, you say possible. Sipa, imba sipisheja, imba misipsheja in Tibetan. Again, this is the language barrier. Imba sipisheja, imba misipsheja. In this is one whole category in the collective. There's a one text called collective topics when we study the Nalanda debate. In collective topics, we have the possible and not possible phenomena.
So two things are not possible.
Two things are not possible. Two things are not possible, meaning two things are separate things, but whether this is a possible phenomena or not possible phenomena is impossible phenomena. Two cannot be being. Okay, the pencil and the paper. Two of them together and being one or not. This is the argument. The two, it doesn't matter whether you put them together physically or separately. That's okay. It doesn't matter. If you just pick up, okay, let's say another thing. Jason, right? Jason and Neil. Take Jason and Neil's. It's a possible phenomena or not possible phenomena? Not possible. If it's possible phenomena, either you have to be Neil or Neil had to be Jason, or two of you together, no matter whether you put together physically or separately, whatever, you're two separate, like individual, right? One individual possible, but two, when you put two together, it's not possible. It's a not possible phenomena. Yes.
Would you use this word nepa for
Nepa? Yeah.
Would you use this for things that you know, like possible knowledge?
Isn't the Sipa is possible?
Sipa is possible, yeah. Sipa is possible. Sipa is possible. Nepa is abiding.
So Sipa.
No, Sepa and Sipa, there's a big difference here. Saradasa, sit, and Saradasa. You say Sepa. Sepa is different. Sepa is attachment. Sipa, Saradasa, sit. Yeah. Sipa is possible.
Sipa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sipa and Nepa. And then Yopa, having. These two are, the example I'm giving, Sipa is possible. The pencil is possible. It functions as a pencil. It's a possibility. It's there.
Yeah.
And if you put these two together, and it's not possible. No possible phenomena. I think I have to attach the phenomena. Yes.
So would you use this word Sipa for cognition, like things that you could
You could have cognition too.
like a possible cognition?
Yes, you could have a possible cognition. Okay, take
and
the
use the same word.
Yes, you can use the same word. Yeah, you can use the same. Yes, but
So-
it cover bigger category when you say the Sipa possible. But then when the other three meaning from the dictionary, sentient is actually from Molam dictionary. There's one called Molam AI. He's creating dictionary like volumes. I think he have put in the library or somewhere in Washington DC. I don't know how many volumes he have created using the AI. Tibetan dictionary. I think over 200 dictionary. This much thick volume. And it's talk so many things. Sentient, non-sentient world, outer, external world, inner world, everything. But you can have the app here. You can download the app. I can show you. Here. Oops, 1 minute. This is the app. Where you see the pot, the bowl.
Oh, the bowl one?
Yeah, where you have written the Mulam, yes. I think you can download from App Store or I think it's you can download.
It's all Tibetan?
It has Tibetan in English.
Oh, it does.
Yes, it has Tibetan in English. And I think you can download for free from Google.
Wow.
I think he did the kind of last year, he was traveling here in the US and did which library? So there was huge library, I think Washington DC somewhere. It's all in Tibetan. He created. It's a geshe, one geshe from Santa Monica to Selme.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Oh, anyway, sorry.
So that was interesting to get a different perspective on how we could interpret the meaning of that word.
Right. Okay, good. All right. I thought, okay, what is being and what is not being? Because I was watching this conversation going on, what is being and what is not being. I haven't watched the whole, the conversation. They were saying it's very context, if it's depend on the context, which the context you're talking beings. Here in this context, sentient beings, meanings the last three. It has three different, number one, Sipa, number two, Neba, number three, Yepa or Yimba, and then number four, Semchen. Okay, again, I'm saying in Tibetan. From Debbie, right? Debbie, Semchen. Semchen. This is a very important word. Are you hearing me? Semchen. Semchen, okay? Sem mean mind. This is very important. Sem mean mind. Chen is possession word, possessive word. Someone who possess mind. Beings mean someone who possess mind, or meaning someone who have mind. This is the fourth one. And then the fifth one, sokchak, sardasanar soka sok, chaka sachak. Sokcha mean living. Just living life. It doesn't it doesn't include the plant here in Tibetan word, but the English word, I'm not sure. If you want to translate sokchak into English, it's a life. But then the Tibetan word sokcha, it doesn't include plants as a life. But the English word, when you say life, plants are life, but plants are not beings. Do you say yes or no? Bobby, do you think?
That's okay. We don't
No. We have no. It's very, very fascinating to learn whether the plant is beings or not. Yeah, everybody, probably many people agree plants are life. And then if you take an example of table, okay, we want to debate again? Very good to debate. Oh my gosh. I think we are over time. Sorry. 11:40 is good. We have laughing yoga today. Did you see that? It's good to have it. It's therapy. We did our own therapy to release all this toxin in our mind and body. You can do this thing. Thank you. So I think we should stop here. I really thought I would read the next what His Holiness say, and you can read it. It's very easy to understand what he's saying. And then what we need to do is we need to just understand what is karma and what is intention. And then you try to understand what is the content, what is the container, and what does it mean by sentient and what does it mean by non-sentient. And then start about what does it mean by beings and what does it mean by not beings. Being means someone is alive, and not being is someone who's dead. The dead body is being or not. You can debate. Bobby, we should do that again and again. And then I say in Tibetan a few words, what does it mean by, the beings the Tibetan have got. Oh, I'll just mention Sokchak is life. And then another one is Droa. Droa is migrator. Have you heard that? Migrator.
Migrator?
Yeah, migrator. Migrate from one place to another. So migrator. Migrator is a very good word. Most of the classical textbooks will find it migrator. The cycle, the beings that migrating from all over in all these three different cycle existence. Migrate, physical body. It's not really talking about you are migrating from one country to another country. Here it means you are migrating from heaven to hell, hell to heaven, maybe human to God, God to animal, and animal to kangaroo goes like this. So migrator is a very good word. And then another one is Rangshin is nature. And then another one is Ningbo. Ningbo means essence, really good, essence. And then there's another word, Ngo. Ngo mean entity and isolate. When you do this practice and debate, and we have to make the differentiation between what is entity, what is isolate and entity. Okay, I think we should stop because it's already 11:43. Thank you so much, and it's okay. Just explore these different terms and then try to understand differently, and then check with your own mind, how does this really drive us from here to there, because the mind is the chief. Mind is the mind is the pilot. The mind is the main. Mind is the real thing. Real thing means not really objectively existent. Oh yeah, another word, mind is the subject, and then anything else, everything else is the object. So these are the things. Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much.
you.
Let's sit, like a few seconds, dedicate. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Keshima.
Thank you.
everybody.